guys, what's up? It's Katie Candy and the Droker here with another episode of From Comics to Cinemas podcast. For those of you who don't know, we are gamers on Twitch, and you can see the links to those channels in the description of this podcast and at the end of the podcast. So be sure to drop us a follow. We are huge comic book nerds, and you can catch the live recording of the show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Candyland Discord as Droker points. I almost said pokes.
You could poke it.
You could poke it. To his comic collection, which he has now started organizing, and it's amazing. And I am so jealous of it.
It's been fun. It's been fun so far. It's been fun to get back into it.
It's pretty cool.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. And that brings me to this week's topic because these comics are so good, and they're darker than the show, if
to put it lightly,
you can even imagine that. So for those of you who haven't figured it out or read the title, we are talking about The Boys, and I honestly didn't know much about this comic until the show started. So I started the show and then went back and read some of the comics. So it's kind of the other way around of how it normally goes for me. So this was like a new adventure. And I love new adventure. Who doesn't love a new adventure?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good way to get into it too, because I think it's something that we've always imagined about, like superheroes that are just jerks.
100%. Like, okay, first of all, like, you know, there's going to be superheroes out there that are going to be complete and total jagoffs, and 100%. That's how like the seven are in The Boys, like especially Homelander. I mean, he's just he's the worst. He's actually the worst, and it's funny because like on the show he's kind of manipulative into getting how he wants, and in the comics he like legit throws a tantrum.
Yeah, it's really which I guess they kind of modified into that whole weird relationship that he has with what's her face, which she's
Madeline.
She's gender bended, Madeline, which I guess she was a gender bended, but so I guess they kind of took that whole whiny baby thing and kind of took it and twisted into that in the show, which I guess it worked because it was really creepy.
It was very creepy, and you know he ends up unaliving her in season 1, and the person that she's gender bended from is still alive, I believe, in the comics. I could be wrong on this. And he's very much for Vaughn Industries. Like, he is the boss, and what he says go. Yeah, it's his way or the highway.
He actually stopped Homelander from killing him by just not caring. His complete apathy for Homelander about to kill him stopped Homelander. He was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't fun. Like he just, it was crazy. So he's stone cold. He's just a dude in the comics. Like he's just like, I mean, like he's a human is what I mean.
He's a human. Yeah. But I mean, you can say he's not a soup.
He's not a soup. Yeah. He's not a meta. He's not a whatever. They don't take, I guess in the show, it's called the drug.
Yeah. Compound V.
Compound V. Yeah. That's what it's called. Sorry. But yeah, so but I guess she captured that coldness in a creepy way.
In a very creepy way.
Creepy surrogate mother kind of way. I don't know. There was some definitely like
very mommy dearest kind of way.
Oedipal complex, Oedipus thing. Yeah, there was something weird going on there for sure. It was awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't like it.
It was very like that is a show that you don't want to watch with your parents. Like,
well, I mean, you could, but it would be really weird.
It would go right along with that whole Oedipus complex.
I think they would start to question why they bought you comics as a kid if you showed them The Boys. They'd be like, "Yeah, we see. This is why we didn't want to buy you comics, because this is the exact reason, actually."
And it's wild to see just how like arrogant and uncaring a lot of the seven are, and they capture a lot of it in the show too, right? Like it's from everything from, well, I feel like the Deep is more like A-Train in the comics, like how the Deep is personified in the show. He's more like A-Train, who is basically like the Flash, if you think about it, or Quicksilver, is very cocky and arrogant and in the show, and that's kind of, or excuse me, in the comics, and that's how like the Deep
The
is.
Deep is, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a weird thing that happens with the Deep.
Which weird thing? There's the Deep. That poor guy. I mean, he deserves it. That poor guy. It should have been called "Heroes That Can't Catch a Break" instead of "The Boys." That's what. It's just what it should have been called.
Like, here's how you know it's a good show or a good comic is when you read it or watch it and you go, what did I just read / watch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're talking a lot about the Seven, and it's both. There's like the Seven, and like because they're like the heroes, right? So the heroes have got to have
Yes.
like their villains. So it's like the Boys. That's like the name of like the group, I guess.
Yeah. And they're basically like a government contract group that's used to keep superheroes in line, right? So you've got
Mhm.
Butcher, you've got Huey, which I really think it's cool because Huey in the comics was modeled after Simon Pegg, and in the show, Simon Pegg plays his father.
A nice little
So
Easter egg.
yeah, that was really
Yeah.
cool.
I love when stuff like that happens.
It's nice how they add those little tidbits in.
Yeah, for sure, and he definitely does look like Simon Pegg in the comics.
Oh, 100%. He does. He does. So you got Butcher, and Butcher's a really kind of cool character, right? Because he thought his wife was basically raped and murdered kind of by Homelander, and really that's not the case. That's not what happened. She ended up getting pregnant by Homelander. They whisked her away to a compound. She gave birth, and they told Butcher that she died in childbirth, but she actually didn't. And so Ryan is the first in the show. In the show, he's the first naturally born superhero, because you come to find out that the Supes aren't exactly born with powers.
Nope.
They're given Compound V, which is a drug which gives them superhuman powers. So, but actually in the comics, Mother's Milk, who is part of the squad, which is such a fun name.
That guy.
He's technically one of the firstborn naturally born Supes, even though he gets his powers by drinking.
The caveat there, the little weird. Yeah. There's a reason he's called Mother's Milk.
Yes.
Can't really go into too much detail, I guess. We could, but it would change the podcast rating quite a bit.
It
drastically.
would. It would.
So if you're curious if they're going down that rabbit hole, Google's your friend. You'll find out why and come back and you'll thank us or yell at us later.
Or both.
Or maybe both. I don't know. I don't know what you're into. But it's a cool character nonetheless. I actually really like the character. I think it's a cool concept, albeit weird, but I think it's cool.
It's definitely an itch, and you're just like,
yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Huh. Huh. All right.
Because it's kind of like the whole he's the first one born, so it's kind of like the whole like Adam and Eve kind of firstborn, like you like the whole like origin, like you need like the nutrients of like the mom's milk when you're a kid. There's a whole like allegory there that I totally get, but also weird.
It's very weird.
For sure.
And then you've got Frenchie, and you've got I love Frenchie, and you've got the female who they basically she is dear.
Scaroused is the word for me.
She's an HBIC. Like there's no doubt in my mind.
Who does she befriend? It's Frenchie.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the one. That's the one that would be like. That's the one that would like actually like connect with her on a level like to like ally with her. So sorry, it's just a funny situation.
and they end up having like a romance. Like they get together. Yeah. So, but she's got like she's basic. Like if you think about it, she's kind of like she's got regenerative powers, right? And she's kind of like Deadpool, but she doesn't talk. and she's way more deadly.
Yeah, yeah. She's almost like an unoutfitted Black Noir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like Deadpool versus like Wolverine. Those two fighting. It was just crazy.
Speaking of Wolverine, they've got their own version of that with Popclaw.
Oh yeah, Po- could you be more on the nose? And I don't like the placement of the claw, but I can respect it. It's interesting to say the least. It's like right here on the wrist. It like comes out. Oh, it's weird.
It's like a Dewclaw,
I
that,
guess, but it's.
even though
I guess they
that's
couldn't do they couldn't do like the Dakin or Dakin claws or whatever, where he's got like the two and the one or whatever.
yeah.
Is that hit? I think those are his claws. I can't. Wolverine family's got some weird claws. I can't remember them all. Anyway,
Which it's funny because like so in the show, like Popclaw and A Train have like a bit of a fling, but in the comics they never share a panel together.
yeah. There's there's a couple of like love interests at that like what's the other one with what's her face in the comics she's basically dating Stanley or like the Stanley of the boys universe. He's the one who writes all the comics in the boys universe of about the seven, and I can't remember her name, the one's like Wonder Woman.
Oh
She's
yeah,
the one who's
yeah.
like dating him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Queen Maeve.
Queen May, sorry, yeah, and he's like he hasn't even been introduced, not even talked about.
I wonder if they'll do that for season 4. You never
There's
know.
some rumors, yeah. There's some rumors that he might be introduced, but there's also more. They're saying I was watching one video that was saying that he went down the rabbit hole that it's going to be the little boy's story arc.
I mean, that makes sense. So,
Yeah,
and I think that's really cool because, like, in the comics, Ryan dies
yeah,
actually by the hands of Butcher.
yeah,
And I can see why they didn't go that route in the show.
yeah. Kind of end that
Because,
story arc real quick.
yeah, well, and like, you know, Butcher's the boys are kind of like the heroes, right? Of the show, which is funny, ironically, because they're going against heroes, because the
Hmm.
heroes technically aren't heroes, they're actually villains. So, you know, you've got that going on. So, you know, having him portrayed as a child murderer would probably not be the way to go.
I mean, he already did on the plane, right? I don't know. They already they did. Season. I don't, that whole thing was very dramatic, and the whole plane scene was crazy.
With
Um,
Homelander and Maeve
Homelander
on,
and Maeve, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Season one, the plane.
yeah.
That was a crazy like that showed you the coldness that guy. So I think I think he's capable of it. I don't know if we're gonna see it for the show at all, but like he's definitely been proven to be capable of being cold hearted as hell.
Well, oh, Homelander, yeah, I was talking about
Yeah.
Butcher. Butcher
Oh,
actually,
Butcher. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
No. This the guy who plays Butcher is not that character. This character Butcher in the show is not the same in the comics.
no, no.
Yeah. He's a little more funny in the show, I guess. I would be the way to put it, I guess. He's comical, like
Comedic,
yeah, comedic. Not because he's funny in the comics too, but definitely more comedic in the show.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the way to put it.
So it's funny that you bring up the plane thing because
Right.
you know in the comics that actually happened during September 11th.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, that actually happened during September 11th. So they
Oh
obviously
wow.
changed it because it was supposed to be obviously in the time period that it happened, which I think that was like 2020, 2019,
Uh-huh.
something like that. So obviously that's years after September 11th, but they probably, even if it was near the same time, I don't think they would have gone that route.
Yeah, you might want to just stay away from just the date 11th altogether with plane crashes in media or just moving forward. To be honest with you, because you really don't. I mean, not that you shouldn't no topic should be like taboo or off issue in my opinion, but don't really want to avoid that imagery that it invokes when you hear the
Oh
11th. It's
yeah,
just like
it's
it's gonna distract the reader completely because they're
yeah.
gonna start thinking about that, and it's gonna just ruin what the point you're trying to get across.
100%.
Yeah,
And you know, it was that episode too that I think Maeve started kind of going against Homelander.
yeah, because she was always trying to do well. She was always heroic, but she was always trying to be the heroic one, even though not
And
really.
you know, when Starlight joined, right? Starlight was the new one after oh gosh, what's his name? I want to call him Lamplighter, but that's a restaurant in Pittsburgh.
I thought that was his name,
Is that
right?
his name?
I thought that was his name. Yeah, I thought it was Lamplighter, the
It might.
Lamplighter.
It is.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Uh, which, yeah,
Starlight joins and Maeve actually like pulls her aside and she's like, I used to be optimistic like you.
mhm,
Full of like
yeah.
bravery and eagerness and everything. Which, by the way, what the deep makes Starlight do, I was
Oh,
so angry at that. As a
what
woman,
a
that just made me angry. But it was even worse for her in the comics.
yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like we talked about. He's a lot different too. He actually wears a
Yeah.
helmet. He's like
He,
a cursed helmet in the comics. He
and
can't take it off.
yeah, and he's more business focused. So like in the comics, he
Yeah,
didn't actually do that to her. It was A Train, Homelander, and I think Black Noir.
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% on that. I know for sure it was A Train.
Yeah, it was definitely A Train and Homelander, but there was three of them.
Right, right. That
So,
probably was.
which is just like, oh my god. uh,
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, sorry. It's just it's that poor girl. That poor she's and in the comics she comes from a Christian group of superheroes, which in the show she's just got the kind of like Midwestern innocent charm thing going. They really
yes,
didn't harp on the religion thing, which whatever. I think in the comics the religion thing makes it a little bit more dramatic.
for sure.
Yeah, but so the show it's not as dramatic. Yeah, it's Lamplighter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And which who by the way can control fire, but is not fire immune himself, which is super lame.
Is I'm sorry, was this MCOC?
No, yeah, right. Yeah, it's just yeah, Ghost Rider's not fire immune. What? What? He can control hellfire. Anyway, squirrel. Um, yeah, so that was a way to go. He had a cool costume and everything, and but yeah, he definitely carried around a lighter. When he was in suit, he had a staff and like it had flames coming out of it, so he could like instantly access it. He was almost like a pyro mage. I don't know. It's kind of cool and kind of lame at the same time. Yeah, whatever. You're wrong, chat.
Wrong.
You're wrong.
Which, okay, I want to jump back to the whole compound V being injected into the babies.
Hmm.
That scene where the boys discover that and Butcher picks up the baby that shoots laser beams from its eyes.
Oh, yo.
Yo,
Like Jack from The Incredibles. That was hilarious, but it was so cool.
I could not stop laughing.
The actor
Like
was so good.
tears. Like I had tears because they're he's like, put it down.
His face throughout the entire scene killed me, man. I was like, this guy, he is the butcher. He's it was so cartoon like Scooby Doo esque of a scene, but it worked so
It
well.
really did. It was so funny. I was like
Yeah.
crying. It was hysterical to me.
I did see clips of that. That was funny as hell.
It
I did give you a good chuckle out of that.
was so good. It was hilarious, which it's just like all the more reason for you to watch the show.
Mhm.
I can't stress that enough. And the fact too that they pull like spin-off series and put them in episodes, which is what they did with Hero Gasm, which
Mhm. Mhm.
that episode you're just kind of like this is awkward.
Yeah, and if you're looking to buy the issues online, they've bundled them into like the
Mhm.
miniseries stories already, so
Yeah.
you can actually kind of digest them a little easier instead of just the one big long run. So it's kind of nice.
It's nice. It's nice that they did that like that, which is funny because like this actually started off as like an offshoot of DC.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, somebody please just tell me if I'm wrong, but I want to say I read somewhere that this was originally supposed to be a Justice League story, and like he didn't get picked up to do Justice League, like the writer, and so this is what we got out of the boys, like went
I
into it.
believe I have heard that as well.
Right.
Which
Because we
how crazy would that have been?
that would have been nuts. Because I would say we've seen like anti Justice League versions in like animated before, but I think in like if he that would have been a crazy story to see what he got. I mean, imagine this if this was actually like continuity. Yeah, exactly. You couldn't. Yeah, it was too dark. Way too dark.
Yeah, no one's gonna want to see Soups doing Homelander things.
I was just gonna say that. Like, nobody's really gonna want their little worldview crushed. Like, I think Red Sun was hard enough for people to swallow, which is like if
Ah,
Superman landed in Russia, and a lot of people had an issue with that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think they could swallow Homelander. Soups. Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, a lot of women can't swallow Homelander as well.
Oh,
Oh,
bazinga!
I'm gonna have to edit that out.
That was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. And that dude's got a creepy smile. That actor for
He
Homelander,
does.
super creepy. Like what's really funny is I would actually like to see him play an on-screen Joker.
That would actually be really
I
cool.
think he could nail it. I think he would. I think he would New 52, like Capullo Joker, like that, the Endgame Joker. If you guys know that story arc, he's this with the slick back hair
Oh
and with
yeah.
yeah. I think he could. I think he could pull that off.
But as
But
of
yeah,
right now, the DCEU is in complete and utter shambles. So
yeah.
we might have to do get your crapola together, DC.
Remember what I said? I didn't think it could get worse. It got worse.
I'm saying because you said it. It's like rule number one, you don't say it.
What'd you do, Ray? What did you do? Oh man.
For those
Yeah.
of you just joining in and have recently started listening to this, we often go off the rails when we hear things like, anyway. Squirrel.
Yeah, but yeah, so they're doing a good job. Season 4 is coming up.
Hmm.
Um like I said, the rumors are it's going to be a kid story arc. It's going to be like basically Homelander and the Butcher, like love me, no, no, love me, no, love me, no, blah 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 blah. I'm your daddy, that whole typical thing. But I think in the boys universe, it could be turn out to be pretty good.
I think it 100% could, and you don't know which ways it could potentially go. Would he go with Butcher, not
Hmm.
his actual dad, but clearly the better choice for him to go to? Would he go to Homelander, his biological father, mentally unstable, just completely off the rails,
Unhinged.
unhinged, just completely unhinged? I like I yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
just that.
I mean he can't go with his mother because oops.
Yeah. Well,
She's not alive anymore. So yeah, I can't really go back to that safe space.
no.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the trip he goes on.
Yeah.
Upcoming season. I mean, it's already been such a wild ride, like just learning about everything thus far. And this started back like, man, I think I was in high school when this came out. This comic came out. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
yeah, high school going into college.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it was a while ago, man. Oh, excuse me, I was already in college. I lie, I was already in college. So yeah, that's still a long time ago. Um, and
Oh
so it's
yeah, because it
still
debuted in October
'06.
2006.
And debuted
Yeah.
in '06,
I
and
was
it went for a long time,
I was oh, I
6
was
years.
junior year, junior
Mhm,
junior in college.
mhm.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it went for 6 years. It ended 10 years ago,
That's crazy.
right?
It
And the artwork is not typically what I would like, but honestly, it fits so well that I
really
do like it,
does.
that I do like it. It's one of those situations where, like, I think it actually does fit very well. Um, yeah, in, like, the creepiest, best way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, especially the, Soldier Boy peeing his pants. Um, which they completely changed that character for the show.
They've changed a lot of the characters,
Yeah.
but like they changed Soldier Boy, they changed Black Noir. Like Noir
Mhm.
is in the comics a clone of Homelander, and in the show he's like completely different.
Yeah. It's
So
yeah, because I guess every comic book world has a super soldier serum that they're trying to they're trying to they've tested on a bunch of people. We've seen it in Marvel. We've seen it when this universe is DC. Yeah, Venom. Yeah,
yeah,
Bane,
Venom.
Bane, and Bane in the DC universe.
Hmm.
There's always some kind of super soldier serum.
Always. And if
always.
there's not one, there's multiple.
Yeah, yeah. And there's always the case where it works, but it's a super, like, super once in a lifetime scenario. Then there's always, like, the variant that's stronger, but super uncontrollable, and then there's always, like, the super smart variant, but also strong, but not as strong because 'cause they're smart, you know? It's like it's the comic thing.
And there's one that works on kids but not adults and has really
Yeah.
bad side effects.
Yeah, and in comics, kids super powerful kids don't live too long, I've noticed.
Mhm.
They tend to not have the longest stories. I mean, you can't I guess for honestly writer reasons, because you can't really leave a super powerful being alive for too long, otherwise Batman plot armor happens. So, like having a healer that just can happen to heal your back after it gets broken. Okay. I'm not gonna get over that. But yeah, it's a great show. They do a good job. You can see the parallels between the Justice League, or even the Avengers and the X Men
Mhm.
in the seven alone, and in the boys. I think the why it resonates with people is because we can each see a little bit of ourselves in the boys.
Oh,
We can
yeah.
kind of, yeah, you kind of like you understand their plight, so you're like, oh man, yeah, if I was them, this is exactly what I do to supers.
Oh, yeah. Especially, all right, like if you were Huey, who you literally watched your girlfriend get run over by a train and she explodes.
Yeah, literally,
Like,
literally goes.
and just holding on to, I'll never forget that when I first watched that, I was like, what just happened? First 5 minutes, first 5 minutes of the show, I was just like, all right, well, this is different.
Yeah, it definitely does sets the pace for the whole show.
It 100% does.
Because it just goes downhill from there as far as like what you understanding of, because like it's not your, like I said, like we said, it's not your typical like these
Mm-mm.
heroes are good and these are the bad guys. It's definitely the role reversal kind of anti situation, which you think like, oh, that doesn't sound that interesting, but it just watch how they do it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like it makes, wow.
And like, we talk about staying true to the comics and not straying, and they do a
Hmm.
lot of gender bending and
Hmm.
adding new characters or changing character traits, but they do it in a way that works for the show, stays to the tone, and
Right.
still yet stays true to how it was meant to be in the comics. And I think that's why
Yes.
it works so well.
Yeah. I agree, and like we've talked about before, you don't need to change things just for the sake of change. But like you just nailed it with the tone. Like they kept the same tone and the story for the most part. Like the beginning and the end of the stories are pretty much the same from the movie and the shows, or from the shows and the comics, excuse me. But the middle stuff is a lot. It is changed. It is
Oh
quite
yeah.
changed. But I mean, I'm a the ends justify the means kind of person. So if you've got a good story to tell that you want to change the ending around, then the middle part to me doesn't matter, as long as it's relevant and not just random. Um,
Exactly.
so they do a good job. They keep, like you said, the tone is it's still the same. It's still creepy. It's still uneven. From the book to the show, it's oof, they do a good job.
It leaves you feeling like you really need a shower afterwards.
That's actually a really good way to put it. This there's only one other show that's really done that to me, and that was Peaky Blinders. Because Peaky Blinders, the way it's shot and the way like I side with certain characters, just makes me feel not good about myself.
Okay, so I tried
uh,
watching that and I couldn't get
mhm.
into it, and now Harley guy is watching it.
So good. It's I know this is like side note, but this is it's once you get into the story, into the family stuff. Oh, it's so good.
All right, so that
Those are some good
is
people.
that is like two people now that are saying I should probably give this a second.
Yeah, but that same kind of like you start to you start to side with certain people, and you may not always agree with what they do, but you do like them, and you start to like these characters, and you're like, man, like the Butcher. I didn't think I was gonna like the Butcher as much as I did. Even Homelander to a certain extent. Like I really like the villain that he.
He's a good villain.
He's a great villain.
And he's so
He's
just
so terrible.
like the best way to describe him, like you said, is unhinged,
Completely
because
unhinged. Yeah.
that's that's oh my gosh, that's
If you
that's
yeah,
exactly what it is.
if you guys have read Injustice, it's kind of like when the Joker killed Lois Lane and Superman just goes absolute just bad crap crazy. It's kind of like that's kind of like Homelander in this. It just yeah yeah.
Yeah, he was really good in Banshee. That was a good show. I liked that show.
Have we talked about this before? I can't
No,
remember.
no.
Okay. Okay.
Banshee, it was kind of like a gritty drama.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
it was pretty good.
All right. I'll have to check that out. New
Forget what it
stuff.
forget what it was on. Stars? I don't remember. It's probably on Netflix now.
And the actor who plays
Showtime, thank you.
oh okay, yeah, they do some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um the actor who plays Soldier Boy. That's what's his face.
Oh, that's Dean from
Dean.
Supernatural, Jensen
Yeah. He
Ackles.
did a great job. He did a fantastic. I just like him in general. I'm a kind of a fanboy. He's Jason Todd. He's Soldier Boy now. Like
Mhm.
he's that guy's got chops.
He can, yeah. Listen, I loved him in Supernatural.
Mhm.
I like him in this show, especially when he's like, "Hello, son."
Which was again something that changed from the
Mhm.
comics to the show, but works for the show very much so.
That's like super daddy issues, right?
Oof, and it makes sense. It makes sense. The whole family's like even at the end of season 3, the kid smiles at when like everything was like terribly wrong, but the crowd was cheering him. So he's like, maybe my dad's not so bad, you know.
It's like, yes,
So
yes, he is.
he is. He's terrible. He's an awful individual. But you know, from the kid's eyes, I mean, it's like the little video I was watching, and from the kid's eyes, you know, he was basically secluded his entire life.
He
So he's just
was.
it's like an Amish kid just going out on whatever I forget what do they go out where they go on, but he's soaking it all in.
And like the only reason why he never really used his powers was because
Mhm.
his mother
His
be-
mom.
told him not to, that was like her wishes.
Yeah, it was a
So
super creepy smile, Raish. Yeah, it was yeah. And like I said, Homelander has a whole family has a creepy smile. The heck.
it's I don't even think I can like do it. Like
No, no, no. They got and that's the other thing. They like just not even from the comic book, just whatever these characters standpoint. Like these actors, they got to do all these roles. Like for everybody across the board is doing a good job.
they're doing a phenomenal job. Like they chose the right actors
Hmm.
to play them and all of that jazz. Even like oh god, who's the Nazi chick?
Oh yeah,
What's her name?
I forget her name too. What is her name? Oh,
Why can't I remember it?
I have things open. I'm
Stormfront.
looking. Stormfront, thank you.
I was gonna say
Which was also gender bend.
yeah, that was gender
So
bent,
that's actually Homelander's dad in the comics is Stormfront.
which is wild.
Yeah, which is weird to think of. Not that actually makes sense, but also weird to think about because in the show it's completely different. Um, but yeah, everybody across the room, even I didn't think I was gonna like what's her name, Star Girl.
Yeah, Stargirl.
I didn't think I was gonna like her, like the actor, but yeah, she won me over.
I mean, she's adorable, but also kind of scary.
That's also why I didn't like her because she was adorable. I was like, she's too midwesterny cute. Like we get it, but then like yeah, like you said, like when she gets mad, dude, she does. That's what won me over. I was like, whoa, look at her go, look at her go all ballistic. Look at you.
This is where Joker would normally use the term I was scaroused.
I was. It was exciting. It was new. There was leather involved. They do put her in some skimpy outfits. You can't with the leather
Well,
boots and everything.
and like they went through that whole thing because like her original costume was not like that. And they were like, no, you need to wear this. And she was like very uncomfortable in it,
Mhm.
right? Because it was very like kind of revealing. And she was like, this isn't me and everything. So
Yeah, the guy who plays the butcher, his accent's really good. Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, like I said, he just he's they did a good job with the casting and the
oh yeah.
direction, and just the editing's really good too. The CGI may not always be the best at times, but hey, you know you can't hit everything across the board all the time. Can't be perfect, but you know whatever, man. It's a running TV series with a fixed budget. What are you gonna complain about? It is a lot of money, but hey, you know,
But it's a good show, and like they hit so many like nail on the head, like so many issues and things that are happening.
it's a
It's
very relevant show.
Yeah, it's a very relevant show, and they do it in such a good way. And like, I don't know, I feel like, okay, this is how I feel too, is I'm gonna say it because this movie made me so angry. Thor Love and Thunder, right? That should have
It
been
was mentioned.
check. That should have been dark and kind of brooding,
Mhm.
and with maybe only a few comedic elements here and there.
Right.
Why they didn't take a page from the boys
Literally.
in that type of tone and go that route, I will never understand. But that's kind of what they should have done and didn't do. If they wanted to do some comedy in it, this is where they kind of should have stemmed from.
That's a good point. If they were afraid of how they were gonna like, because one of the things I've read was like why they didn't do the whole butchering the gore thing was it wouldn't have really fit in with it. It's the same reason why they don't really show Anakin killing all the younglings, right? It doesn't really fit the tone. It's kind of too much. And it's kind of too dark, right? But again, the boys over here doing all kinds of crazy deaths with all kinds of crazy people, and they're doing it tongue in cheek and very dark at the same time. Very like So I don't know. I think that you just got to do it the right way.
There's
I agree.
literally an octopus and the deep. And I'm not going to say what was happening, but if they can make that work,
Don't Google this. This one don't Google.
I can't. I
Oh,
have
no.
said so many terrible things during this podcast tonight.
It kinda fits the theme, though.
It really does. It really does. Like this is the like I might be like mature audiences only in the
Yeah, this is
description.
look, yeah, mature story, mature I mean, because you can't really you can only censor so much. You can only censor so much from the boys. I mean, just even some of the covers I'm looking at, like one of them's got one of them's got basically, a Jesus crucifixion cover. There's one with a big Nazi symbol on the front of it, like, it's
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's probably one with
they don't hold
Stormfront.
back.
They
Yeah,
don't hold back. And I
they
think
don't hold back.
that's why I like it so much. Is it's no holds bar,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So it's basically like they don't give up.
They don't. They don't. They did leave out. I'm looking at it. And it just reminded me. They did leave out one of the characters, which I would have loved to see more of, which was Terror, the dog,
Oh yeah.
who's trained to do things to other things,
Oh my god,
which is one of the best caveats of that story.
I
Come on,
forgot about Terror. Yeah, he's like a bulldog, right?
he's an English bulldog. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an English bulldog who they train to violate objects
Soups.
in a matter. Yeah, it's just great, which totally fits the boys. I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't you have a bulldog that does that to Soups? That's so fitting. It's a that I love that character in the comics. Like that's cool.
Oh yeah, Terror's great. That's
Good use of a dog.
such a good concept too. Because
Yeah,
if you look at like okay, DC Super Pets, right?
yeah, yeah. Completely different.
Completely different,
Different tone.
very different tone.
Uh,
Like, what's Superman's dog's name? I forget. He's like, I'm gonna see you,
Crypto,
Crypto. That's right.
crypto. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Crypto,
and then you got Batman's dog.
which was depending on the variation, is Ace or Bat Dog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was ace in a lot of the stuff that I read.
correct, correct.
So, but very different dogs.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's I can't even remember all the other ones. That everybody at one point had like a pet. I think
Yeah,
it was the 70s. I think it was. Was that? I'm not 100% on that.
I'm not
I think
100% sure on the
it
Super
was Super
Pets
Friends. I think it
timeline.
was the Super Friends era of the Super Friends era of DC. Sorry, it's just I remember how cheesy and campy it was.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, it's the Wonder Twins powers activate. Form of, shape of. Anyway, um,
Which, off topic real quick, they were going to be doing a Wonder Twins series or movie, and
they were.
that got nixed, and I've never been so
Yeah.
thankful for that.
What you mean? It would have been so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway. I'm trying to think of anything else we missed from season 1 or 2 that was really pivotal, from The Boys. Because
um
3 was a crazy wild ride of just the whole kid saga.
the whole kid saga,
Yeah,
and then you've got the stuff in between that pretty much everyone was talking about this past season, which was season 3. Everyone was
right.
talking about Hero Gasm. Like, that is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
episode that shook the books, and I can't say I blame it.
Yeah. I guess Google this one? I'm not I don't Google at your own risk from this point on, honestly. You're an adult, figure it out. Like I
Google
said,
at your own
the
risk.
the Hero Gasm story, if you guys like that episode, it's actually a story in the comics. You can
Yeah,
fix it just with that miniseries.
it's a 6-issue
6 or
miniseries,
4, yeah, one
I
of the 2,
believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that one you can grab if
So,
you really like the episode, so that which I would recommend, probably a nice place to start with collecting the, written stuff, which I'm totally not thinking about doing.
all right, so we know where all of Joker's paychecks are going.
Anyway, I don't need something else to start collecting, but I kind of want something else to start something else. Anyway,
Which,
yeah,
by the way, if you guys aren't familiar, you should totally join both our Discords. You can join Joker's Asylum and the
mhm,
Candyland Discord,
mhm.
where you can see postings of various comic arcs and stories and post your own collections if you so choose.
There is a lot of sharing going on, and people are helping other people collect
Hmm.
issues. Like B is helping Verge in our community help complete. It was the Ultimate Fantastic Four, I believe, run he's put together. So very
Very
nice
close.
individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You love the camaraderie.
Yeah, it's something I'm actually starting to really like because I mean we love comic books here. This is why we do what we do.
This is
So
why we started this.
yeah, and then we come across comics like The Boys where it's like it really pushes the boundary and the envelope, and you're like, it's oh what a cliche like trope or whatever. Like you're just reversing roles. Yes, they are just reversing roles, but they do it in such a great, fantastic way that
They
you
do.
want to know what happens next. It keeps your attention.
And it honestly, for me, like, after, like, I am more hesitant to judge a character being gender bent because I'm like, it works so well
Yeah.
here. Let's see
Hmm.
if it is going to work in, Marvel or DC. Now, sometimes it doesn't work and it flops, and other times it,
Correct.
it works out extraordinarily well. So only time will tell.
Yeah, no, and like for example, the recent question is Renee Montoya, and I didn't think I was gonna like her at first, and yeah, I am. I'm okay, and that's not really a gender bend. That's just like a whole new female character, but it's
Hmm.
something that like it's sometimes that's okay to replace a mantle. It's okay to replace the mantle. It's with somebody who's of the opposite gender. It's totally fine. You can do it with certain characters. You can do it with villains. You can do it with anybody. I mean, we've seen it in the boys, and the boys is a great example of that. You can just literally, as long as you write it out to work out, you can do it.
Yeah.
You don't just do it and go, just make it work. Square peg, round hole. For Love and Thunder. um, it was so forced, and the boys is not forced.
It is not forced.
It's not like a forced darkness or a forced comedy, or like they don't force the laughs out of you. They genuinely get them out of you. They genuinely make you feel uneasy. They genuinely make you like question, like, man, do I really like Superman? If because this is like if he went evil, or do I really like Noir? Like, do I really like Noir? Because that's kind of like Batman if he was just unhinged, or like Deadpool if he was just
Oh, that's a
I don't
good point. Yeah.
know, yeah. So it makes you look at your favorite characters.
In a whole new light.
It does, and villains too. You start to side with again like a good villain's origin story. You'll start to side with them.
Like Homelander.
Well,
Like,
villain.
I love to hate Homelander.
Yeah, same. Same. He's a good one. He's a good one. It's easy. It's easy and fun to hate him.
Oh yeah. Which I should point out too that Garth Ennis, who is the creator of The Boys, also created Preacher. So
Yeah, he did
if
the Preacher stuff.
yeah, so if you guys haven't checked out Preacher, that's another good one if you're into like if you're like me and you like vampires. Also,
Yep.
AMC had a great show.
Mhm.
So I
Was that actually
highly
was that based off the same?
it was based off the
Oh, I didn't know
comics.
that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I will get into that. Hey. Yeah, and it's
It
correct.
didn't
Garth Ennis did Punisher as well. Yeah.
it didn't follow it, you know, but it was a good I can't speak today. Preacher was a good show.
Mhm. Yeah, there was, which was funny because I kinda wish I had done this research before the con because there was a Preacher artist at the con, and I didn't even, like, put 2 and 2 together because I really hadn't done this research yet prior to the show. It was after the show. So
Tisk
that was a missed opportunity
tisk.
if I've ever seen one.
That's the
Missed
perfect
opportunity. This
yeah.
is why I need to just envelop myself in only comics for the next year.
The more you know.
Because I saw that and I was like, "Ah,
Dro drode it.
Dro. You drove it, dude. That would have been a good one." Um,
That's the real life of Dro falling off the map in Apex.
yeah, yeah, but they did such a darn good job with this show. It does make me want to start reading the comics. I may just do it on Hoopla, to be honest. I don't know if I'm
I
gonna
mean,
actually collect them,
it
but
it Hoopla's a great place for it. And
mhm,
if you
mhm,
guys don't know what Hoopla is, it's a fantastic online what's the word I'm looking for? Library. There we go.
mhm, mhm.
And they've got basically a ton of comics. It's basically kind of based on your location. So,
Yeah, 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 and they have mainly if it's been bound into like a trade paperback or like in some kind of like collected stories or something like that, generally they're gonna have it.
yeah.
Which most major stories, like I said, like the boys are already collected together in their stories, so
Yeah. And
it's a
it's
good place to start.
free.
And it is free. All you gotta do is just sign up for a library, or have a library card, and just go ham like
Yep.
we've been doing. Totally, and this is not even a paid ad. This is just it's just a great tool to just
It's
they have books too. They have audiobooks. It's not just comics. They have like
mhm.
it's complete book library. So
Yeah.
it's not just comics, but
But hey,
it's nice.
Hoopla, if you want to sponsor us,
I will take it.
we'll take
I
it.
will definitely because we definitely use it. I'm definitely reading the be Jesus out of these comics. Because sometimes I don't even want to touch the ones I have because they're too old.
Well, yeah,
I'm
and you
I'm afraid I'm gonna rip the cover off. Like the
what are,
Phantom Stranger one I picked up. It's so old. I'm just gonna read it online.
what are you gonna do? Just like, are you gonna like Thanos it? Like what?
I could. Oh my god, we saw a what was it? It was like the Infinity Gauntlet first premiere or something like that. It was going for like so much. It was like $800 or something like that, or five
I
hundred
believe it.
dollars. It was so expensive. I was like, whoa.
I believe it. I 100% believe it.
It was cool, but and the boy stuff was actually it's not. So if you guys want to know pricing, it's still relatively cheap to get some boy stuff. Obviously, the key issues like the first one are going to be a little bit more expensive, but for the most part, you can still find that stuff out there.
Yeah.
That is something you can still find. You definitely
And
search for it, pick it up.
I think that's the other thing too, is because it's not so widely known as a comic either.
Hmm.
So it's probably gonna remain fairly inexpensive
For
for
now,
for
unless
now.
yeah, because it is picking up in popularity
Yeah.
from like communities like ours. Like we know it. Obviously, we were like, well, we were all over the boys when it came out. So I remember all of us were watching, and talking about it. So, but yeah, it's something if you want to collect, I would recommend it. It's not going to break the bank too much. It might if you want some like graded issues and stuff like that. But that's a completely different topic is in situation. So
Yeah. So what you're saying is buy all the key boys issues and profit. That is not what we're saying at all.
if you're going to do that, here's what I suggest: do everybody a favor and collect the whole run and then sell the whole run at
Yeah.
once. Don't be the people that pick out the key issues and ruin complete runs, and then you start seeing them on eBay where it's like I've got 1 through 6, or no, usually it's like 3 through 6, 12 through 24, and then like 36. And you're like, why do you only have those? And you find out all the ones before and after those are like all super key issues. So
Don't
yeah,
be that guy or
yeah, don't be
girl.
that guy. Don't be just buy the whole issue. Do collectors a favor. Sell the whole runs. Get that's the best way to get like people like me. Like if I don't have anything, the best way to get me to buy something is do a whole story,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, That's see, look, I don't have to look for anything anymore. Boys compendiums, yeah, I would recommend if you don't have the space for all the comics,
Yeah.
yeah, the compendiums or the trade paperbacks or bound issues would be the way to go.
Yeah. Which is great that they did that.
Those are always
That's
super convenient. I love them.
yeah.
They're sometimes they are stupid big and a little cumbersome.
Phrasing.
Like yeah, like the Nightfall stuff and like some of the really bigger story arcs. But they are cool to own.
Very.
They're not cheap either. Unfortunately, they usually run 20 to 30 to upwards of like $100.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Nah.
Still worth it.
Yeah, I would for the boys, absolutely. I would say even getting those signed, I think would still be relevant enough just to the bound issue signed and stuff like that because it's such a good show and
Oh yeah.
everything. So,
So good. But I don't
yeah.
think I have anything else to add. I think we touched on all the
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah, I wanna see the unhinged kid. I wanna see the kid lose it, and then I wanna see a redemption arc for the kid. That's what I wanna see for season 4.
Yeah, we
That would be what I want.
probably won't get that. We'll probably get unhinged kid,
Yeah, we won't get it all. I agree.
unalived kid.
Ooh, I wonder if they'll go that route.
They very well could.
Hmm. Because they did it in the comics. So,
So
yeah,
who knows?
we'll see.
But the boys streams on Amazon Prime, so be sure to check it out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember, you can catch the live recording of From Comics to Cinemas every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the upload every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a variety of platforms. We're coming up on the season finale here
We
soon, I
are.
believe.
Oh my
So we will
god.
keep you guys posted with what we decide to do for that. But
Yes.
thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Laters.
Bye.